The very warmest of welcomes to an hour's live television from London's Waldorf Hotel, where the news is that tonight, in this stylish setting, we'll find out which of the 21 lovely contestants is to be Miss Great Britain 1983. Talking of news, later in the programme we'll be joined by the best newsreader in the business, my delightful colleague from Top Secret, Jan Leeming, who will be interviewing the girls. With her inspired guesswork, she'll probably be able to tell you who the winner is now, maybe even the date of the general election, who knows. But the rest of us, particularly the judges, of course, have to go by the facts and figures. We're going to start with a sort of Miss Great Britain 1983 family album. Now, I know other people's snapshots are usually boring, but this brief glimpse is different. Well, I warned you that if you blinked, you'd miss one, but that was just by way of saying hello. What we'll do now is get to know the girls better as we pick them out at this party at the Waldorf, wearing evening dress, or what the organisers rather grandly call formal wear. The first contestant is Angela Bishop from Chatham in Kent.
And Angela works as a member's ledger controller, occupation which sounds vaguely indelicate. She'd also like to visit New Zealand, and the Kiwis already are holding their breath agog. Contestant number 1.
Diana Brookes, contestant number 2, comes from Liverpool.
Yes, and Diana works as a nursery nurse in Liverpool. She wants to pass a driving test, which she'll have to do if she wins tonight, because she will win the free use of a Triumph Acclaim car for 1 year.
Bristol in the West Country is the home of contestant number 3, Juliet Curran.
As Juliet, a great animal lover, very fond of a little German Shepherd puppy dog, which she takes to dog shows because it doesn't do too well in cat shows. She's contestant number 3.
Valerie Moss is contestant number 4. She comes from Blackpool.
There's poor Valerie from that obscure little place down the coast. Likes dressmaking and keeping fit. She does handstands and makes frocks at the same time.
Contestant number 5 is from Glasgow. She's Eileen Ramsay.
Is Eileen probably the only person in this room here tonight who enjoys meeting people? And she'd also like to travel as well. Contestant number 5.
Debra Wilbraham is from Skidby, North Humberside. She's contestant number 6.
Nice broad, welcoming smile from Debra. Very keen on gardening. She's got green fingers, this girl. Her feet are a strange colour too. Contestant number 6.
From Westcliff-on-Sea, Trudy Miller, contestant number 7.
Trudy, well known on the West End scene as an actress and a dancer. Works in the evenings at a well-known London night spot. And I don't think it's the Wapping Scout Hut. And there we see our first 7 contestants competing for that coveted crown, Miss Great Britain 1983.
Leading the second 7, contestant number 8, Tracey-Anne Murtagh from Blackpool.
Here's a face I think we've seen before in these competitions. Tracey-Anne wants to live a happy and successful life and choreograph top fashion shows eventually.
A contestant from the Midlands now, from Nottingham, Joanne Smith, number 9.
Joanne is very keen on dressmaking and eventually would like to buy her own horse, presumably a clothes horse.
Susan Hanson is contestant number 10. She comes from Hessel, again in North Humberside.
Susan, keen on solving crosswords, and an anagram of her name is Nassau Shon, which is interesting because she wants to make a grand tour of America.
Number 11 is Geraldine Fuller from Wigan.
There's Geraldine, a sales promoter, fashion model. Great keep fit girl, this, and the effects are beginning to show.
Southsea is the home of Caron Moore, number 12.
There's Caron Moore, contestant number 12, 20 years old. Likes collecting antiques, things like Arthur Negus and that.
Suzanne Casey is from Cardiff. She's contestant number 13.
There's an air stewardess, is Suzanne. Also likes to fly light aircraft and those micro-light flying coat hanger things as well. She's contestant number 13.
Susan Halhead is contestant number 14. She comes from Lancaster.
And Susan's a girl of bucolic taste, representative for the National Farmers Union, and likes looking at animals on the farm, lambs, gambling and that. And there we see 2/3 of the way through our finalists tonight. Contestants numbers 8 to 14, on which to feast our eyes.
Leading the third, contestant number 15, Nikki Ann Thomass from Coventry.
There's Nikki Ann, keen on bodybuilding and likes collecting beer mats, especially when there's pints of old and filthy sitting on them. Number 15.
Vicky Ellis is from the Wirral. She's number 16.
And Vicky's dearest wish is to be the next British cover girl for Vogue magazine. If she can't get that, perhaps the Beano would do, maybe.
Ballynahinch, Northern Ireland is the home of Rose McGrory, number 17.
Rose works as a bank clerk across the water in Ulster. Quiet job, really. She works at the position closed counter.
The only contestant from London is Karen Cresswell, number 18.
There's Karen, a model and sales promoter, likes water skiing, and she would like to make others smile a lot. And as you can probably see, we're all laughing our heads off here at the Palm Court Lounge of the Waldorf Hotel here in London tonight. Contestant number 18 from London, Karen Cresswell.
Another northerner, Alison Kenworthy from Kirkburton, Huddersfield, number 19.
As Alison's very good at do-it-yourself, putting up shelves, building sheds, and motorways a speciality, I gather. She's number 19.
Janette Ann Smith comes from Chorley in Lancashire. She's number 20.
Great sporting girl, Janette. All sports, jogging, weight training, keep fit. She even plays chess with the window open. Janette Smith.
And the last of our contestants for Miss Great Britain 1983, Wendy Christian Lovett from Christchurch, number 21.
Wendy's a drama student. Would like eventually to go on to RADA and onto the stage with a travelling musical, perhaps something like Pete Murray's Roadshow, maybe. And there you are, our final batch of 7 slinky beauties, all hoping to become Miss Great Britain 1983.
Well, next time we see the girls, they'll be in autumn clothes. Not exactly duffel coats and clogs, but something a bit more fetching, I dare say. Meanwhile, I'd like you to meet the people who have the big decision to make, tonight's judges. Mrs. Susie Reynolds has come from Carnforth in Lancashire, where she very kindly lent us a beautiful home for a sequence we'll see in a moment. Squadron leader Bob Iveson was deprived of both home and beauty for a large slice of last year because he was serving with the task force in the Falklands, where he landed his Harrier behind Argentine lines. Tricky situations crop up regularly for actor John Nettles. He stars, of course, as Bergerac in the BBC series of the same name. Like squadron leader Bob Iveson, Geraldine Rees is no stranger to crash landings. She's the only female national hunt jockey ever to complete the Grand National course. And the chairman of the panel is Andrew Love, the managing director of Dutton Forshaw Motor Group, who are sponsoring Miss Great Britain 1983. Let me remind you, by the way, that the five of them aren't just going by what they see tonight. Since 2 o'clock this afternoon, they've been interviewing the girls individually and thoroughly so that they'll be able to form a fair overall impression. Now, since Morecambe has been the home of the Miss Great Britain competition since 1945, we thought we'd take the contestants up to the area on an away day for a breath of good northwestern air. As I mentioned, one of our judges, Mrs. Susie Gillow Reynolds, put her house, Leighton Hall, at our disposal. And just down the coast from Liverpool, home of the brilliant boys from the Black Stuff and one bionic football team, next time I go to Everton I'll be lynched, we welcome Ray Moore to tell us all about it. Ray?
Yes, Chris, Morecambe is a sort of rich man's Liverpool-on-Sea, where the Blundell Sands burgers all come for their suntans. And you notice from the Union Jack that the BBC Task Force has in fact retaken Morecambe Town Hall. Some of Morecambe's guest houses there, where the use of cruet is often free, and the bracing seafront, where the ozone comes flying in lumps. And out across the wind-swept expanse of Morecambe Bay, you can see there the towering majesty of the mountains and fells of the Lake District. Across the hills and away to the northwest, a little way up the A6, is Carnforth and Leighton Hall. As Chris said, the historic seat of the Gillow family for generations. And few houses could be more beautifully situated. Beyond and behind the house can be seen the whole range of the Lakeland Mountains. And the history of the house, in fact, goes back to 1246, which is just after 1:45. And a great feature of the grounds is the birds, the feathered variety. And this wicked-looking object is a buzzard. Looks a little like Busby's bad-tempered uncle, doesn't he? Another partner enjoying the run of the grounds is a fellow called Mr. Wu, who's a European eagle owl. And the family pet eagle is this beautiful object called Pegasus, roaring about the place on free range. He's nominally under the control of a chap called Alan Oswald, who looks after all the eagles on this enormous estate. So here in the grounds, we've got birds and birds. And to describe the autumn fashions of the human variety of birds, we've got Miss Great Britain 1981, Michelle Hobson. Old Pegasus being shown to our birds, and a swift flap in the eye of Caron Moore.
Angela Bishop, our first contestant, has chosen this lovely two-piece suit in olive green and grey, with a very fashionable full skirt and fitted belted jacket. High neck white blouse with lace detail on neck and sleeves. Picking out the grey in the suit, Angela's accessories are hat and shoes. Diana Brookes also shows preference to grey, with this super outfit and matching scarf. The main feature being a contrasting motif which looks very effective on television with a decorative belt. Well chosen, Diana. Juliet Curran knows that knitted outfits can be worn on any occasion and always look attractive. This particular suit is cream-coloured and very flattering to Juliet's slim figure, with its blues-on sweater and figure-hugging straight skirt. Valerie Moss is obviously well on her way with her ambition as a dress designer in this fabulous dress of olive green velvet, which she made herself, with full skirt, leg of mutton sleeves and that super high Elizabethan neckline. Valerie certainly knows her suited colour. Eileen Ramsay looking lovely in her wool suit, which is a shade of green. Pleated skirt, gilet jacket gathered at the waistline, contrasting with a cream frilly blouse, rush shoes and handbag. To complement the whole outfit, a super French beret. Debra Wilbraham showing lots of smiles with a simple combination of cream and black. A cream long-sleeve dress brought together at the waist with a black leather belt. Keeping the same colour, Debra has coordinated shoes and handbag, not forgetting the reaffirmed fashion in millinery with a trilby. Trudy Miller has chosen an elegant cashmere dress in cream, which moves beautifully, embroidered with delicate pearls around the neckline and contrasting with camel shoes and handbag. The matching beret completes this lovely picture. No, Tracey-Anne Murtagh has not moved to Spain. She is still here in Lancashire with this effective outfit which suits her fashion-conscious personality. A stunning black culotte suit shown off with a snow-white lace blouse, the pillar-box red cummerbund and boots together with a fabulous Spanish-style hat makes a very striking scene. Joanne Smith, who lives in Nottingham, which is my hometown, has chosen a three-piece wool suit in grey and aubergine. Check pleated skirt, double-breasted jacket with shawl draped over one shoulder, which gives that extra touch of style. I think Joanne's hat looks absolutely exquisite. Once again, a small brimmed hat looks perfect on Susan Hanson, who has chosen this well-cut suit with a kick pleat skirt. This gorgeous colour of jade certainly complements her green eyes and is shown off to advantage with a striped shirt and white shoes. Geraldine Fuller couldn't have chosen a better colour on this lovely sunny day. A lemon short-sleeved dress with frilly bodice edged with self-coloured satin. A gold stripe running through the fabric, which is picked out in her gold shoes, sets off her dark brown hair very well. Caron Moore's multicoloured designer suit is in woven silk with cleverly designed insets of blue and stone-coloured suede. This culotte suit is certainly up to the minute fashion and very unusual. Caron definitely graces this lovely garden. Suzanne Casey is wearing a smart suit in a warm shade of rust. The self-coloured piping around lapels and pockets and coordinating tie-neck blouse is offset with her black court shoes, clutch bag and brimmed hat. Suzanne has obviously been influenced with her profession as an air hostess in her choice of outfit. Susan Halhead, along with several of our contestants, has chosen culottes. The whole outfit is a combination of black and green, with a silk blouse, velvet waistcoat and suede belt. Her chic netted hat looks fabulous in this lovely setting of Leighton Hall. Nikki Ann Thomass has a lovely smile to show off this brilliant coloured suit, which is very sophisticated, with a belted jacket and straight skirt, showing off Nikki's tall, elegant figure. A cream contrast on reverie of jacket, shoes, gloves, and that super, slightly tilted brimmed hat. Vikki Ellis is the only girl to wear trousers in our contest. Vikki is a tall girl and therefore they suit her admirably. The trousers are chocolate brown leather. She is also wearing a gorgeous backroom sleeve sweater trimmed with tassels and beads. These dark shades show off Vikki's beautiful long blonde hair. Rose McGrory's gorgeous brown eyes are set off with these rich shades of damson. A culotte suit with loop detail on cowl neck, front panel and around the hatband in attractive contrasting shades. Leather boots to set off the whole look. Cresswell has chosen a combination of rich brown and cream with a long sleeve knitted dress which has a deep belt to give a nipped-in look which is shown off to perfection on that tiny waist. These two very complementary colours are picked out again in Caron's loose-fitting patterned jacket. Alison Kenworthy is wearing an Italian knitted suit trimmed with a deep border of mustard and tan stripes, which is very clever detail. Picking out the rich tan colour, Alison accessorises with clutch bag and that smart brimmed hat. Janette Ann Smith in rich shades of brown, an outfit with contrasting stripes around that small collar and the bottom of a full pleated skirt. A shawl draped over one shoulder is brought into the waist by a deep leather belt. Rich boots and hat finishes off that very country look. Wendy Christian Lovett, our last contestant who has chosen navy and cream for her outfit. This smart suit with two panels of pleats on the front of the skirt and short fitted jacket are offset by a large contrasting brimmed hat and delicately frilled blouse.
And there we have all 21 of our outdoor girls in the traditional tableau draped over the back garden wall of Leighton Hall. And remember, one of these girls will shortly become Miss Great Britain 1983.
It's a bit like Ray Moore's country place. Many thanks, Ray Moore and Michelle Hobson. Now, while we've been enjoying Susie Reynolds' hospitality at Leighton Hall, she's been beavering away back here at the Waldorf, along with her colleagues on the judging panel, whittling down the original 21 girls to just 12 semi-finalists. The successful dozen have changed into swimsuits. We invited Maestro Laurie Holloway at the piano to do the same while he played a whiter shade of pale. He didn't want to overexcite the audience, he said. The first semi-finalist is contestant number 2, Diana Brookes.
In fact, they had a whip round here at the hall to get Laurie Holloway to put his clothes back on. A much prettier picture is Diana Brookes from Liverpool. Nice blue-green-eyed blonde is Diana. And she measures 34, 22, 34. 5 feet, 5 inches tall. Contestant number 2, Diana Brookes.
Second into the semi-final is Debra Wilbraham, number 6.
This is the girl who's a great friend of Percy Thrower, well into the gardening. Debra, number 6. Measurements 34, 24, 35. And a statuesque 5 feet 6 inches tall and a pretty smile too. Debra Wilbraham.
Our next semi-finalist is contestant number 8, Tracey-Anne Murtagh.
Tracy appearing from behind a lump of shrubbery to reveal a figure that says 34, 24, 34. Trim, symmetrical shape of Tracey-Anne. She's 5 feet 8 inches tall, a brunette with green eyes, number 8.
Geraldine Fuller, contestant number 11, is our next semi-finalist.
Geraldine, as you can see, has got dark brown hair and beguiling dark brown eyes flashing away at the camera there. She measures 36, 24, 36. She's 5 feet 8 and 1/2 inch. Number 11.
Next, contestant number 12, Caron Moore.
And Caron was the girl who had the honour of being flapped in the face by Pegasus, you remember, the delinquent broiler fowl we met earlier on. Caron is 35, 23, 35, and she's 5 feet 6 inches tall. From Southsea, contestant number 12, Caron Moore.
Following Caron, contestant number 14, Susan Halhead.
Yes, Susan from Lancaster. Almost wearing a swimsuit, I'd have said. Covering a figure of 34, 24, 35. She's smiling. She's 5 feet 5 tall. She's number 14.
The 7th of our 12 is contestant number 16, Vikki Ellis.
Yes, Vicky Ellis, number 16. A very useful swimsuit. Play drafts on it when she's finished with it. She measures 34, 24, 35. And she's 5 and 8.5 inches tall. Vicky Ellis.
Our next semi-finalist comes from Ulster. She's Rose McGrory, number 17.
Yes, Rose, you remember, is the girl who works behind the position closed counter in a bank in Northern Ireland. What a way to hide a figure. 35, 24, 35. That's Rose McGrory. She's 5 feet 6 tall and beautiful. Number 17.
London's sole contestant is into the semi-final. She's number 18, Karen Cresswell.
And enjoying every moment here at the Waldorf tonight. The music of Laurie Holloway. Karen measures 35, 23, 35. She's a statuesque 5 feet 7 inches, number 18.
3 more places to be filled. The next by number 19, Alison Kenworthy.
There's little Alison, only 6 to 4 inches high, but every inch is packed with dynamite. So they tell me. She measures 34, 22, 34. Contestant number 19, 22-year-old Alison Kenworthy.
The 11th place goes to Janette Smith, contestant number 20.
Most of Janette Ann Smith you can see. Barely revealed is a figure that measures 36, 25, 36. 5 feet 8 inches of it. Value for money with a woman like Janette Smith, number 20.
And the last of our semi-finalists for Miss Great Britain 1983 is number 21, Wendy Lovett.
Drama student. Making a dramatic entrance there is Wendy. That figure you're looking at there measures 34, 23, 36. 5 feet 7.5 inches tall is Wendy Christianne Lovett.
This is where the judges really start to earn their hot dinner, because they must now eliminate half a dozen more and leave us with just 6 finalists. While they're doing that, it occurs to me that if your London's a bit hazy, you may be having trouble placing us. The Waldorf is in the Aldwych, at the other end of the Strand from Trafalgar Square. It's just a few yards from Waterloo Bridge, around the corner from the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, and one of the most fascinating parts of London, Covent Garden. The fruit and vegetable market was moved years ago, of course, because it was clogging up the middle of town. But after a lot of wrangling, the central piazza with Inigo Jones' lovely Actors' Church at the West End has been beautifully restored. Have a look for yourself. Here we go, round the corner to Covent Garden.
Rosy apples, red and rosy apples.
Come on, get your oranges today. Cockles, mussels, lots of lovely mussels. Come on, lady, who will buy? London pride has been handed down to us. London pride is the flower that's free. London pride and forever will be. Mark the beat of history. Every street pins a memory down. Nothing ever could break or harm the charm of London town. Get your body to the body shop.
See you down the monsoon.
The Irving Daving Dancers and Laurie Holloway's arrangement of London Pride. Over the past few weeks, I've had a lot of fun playing a panel game for the BBC called Top Secret. Some of the most breathtaking moments in it belong to our next guest, who occasionally had flashes of inspiration that would have left a mastermind staggering, like the time a hopeful contestant came all the way from Manchester, only to be sussed by her in about a millisecond as a matador. Ladies and gentlemen, Jan Leeming. Well, the first of the judges' top secrets is out because they've just nominated 2 of the 6 finalists, the first 2, and they are numbers 2 and number 12, Diana Brookes and Caron Moore.
I have to start with Diana. Diana, you must get very ribbed for the place from where you come. Where is it?
I'm afraid it's Knotty Ash. And
it really exists?
It really does, honestly. And they're not all diddy men with big hats.
Do they have big teeth?
A few.
Do people move into Knotty Ash because of its fame, or is it not that sort of place?
Well, we don't notice it, really.
You said in your notes that you have an identical twin sister, and that has its moments. I'm very interested to know what you meant by that.
Well, very, very often, I often get people coming up to me in the street and kissing me and hugging me.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know for the life of me who they are.
Oh.
And then they get upset because I don't know them, you see.
Let me turn to Caron. Caron, you're a house model for a large store, and I know you do lots of other work as well. Entering something like this competition, does that mean that you'll go on being a house model, or could it change your life?
No, I do my other work for an agent, and it makes absolutely no difference at all. This is just a lovely pastime.
A nice pastime?
Yes.
You have other nice pastimes. I gather you think you're good at card games. Now, that requires a good mathematical brain. Are you good at maths?
Well, I'm quite good at maths, but I think with my favourite card game, which is 7-card poker, which I try to get in with my family playing, I think you have to remember the cards. It's very much a very skilled game, obviously, but there's a certain amount of luck involved as well, I think.
Well, I'm no good at cards, I'm no good at maths, so we'll turn to Diana. Diana, you've got lots of hobbies, but one of them is paragliding, and I really wasn't quite sure what that was all about. Tell me.
Well, it all happened on holiday last year. It was more of a dare than anything. You're harnessed into a parachute, and you're then tied to a speedboat with about 200-foot long rope, and then they pull you out to sea, and you just glide up into the air, and you just float along like a bird. It's a fantastic experience.
You have a slight disadvantage. You can't swim.
Yes, that's true.
Well, what about the deep water?
I didn't really think about that until I started to come down.
And then what happened?
I panicked.
Actually, you said you can swim with one leg on the bottom.
Yes, that's true.
But you came down in 30 feet of water.
Yes, so I had to have rather a long leg, but I'm afraid I didn't.
Somebody rescued you.
Yes, my husband.
Caron, you also enjoy collecting antiques. What kind of antiques?
Well, at the moment, I've only just started collecting antiques. I've been to quite a few trade fairs and antiques fairs, and I'm really fascinated by Edwardian and Victorian ornaments. I've got a friend who knows a hell of a lot about antiques, and she takes me along and tells me what's good and what's bad. But I've got a few trinkets, and I'm collecting more and more all the time.
Do you want to perhaps own an antique business when you've finished with the modelling game?
Well, I don't know enough about antiques at the moment. I would eventually like to open my own business, either in cosmetics, fashion, or antiques. It would depend on what I have best knowledge on.
Diana, what is your burning ambition, other than winning the competition tonight?
Well, it's to pass my driving test eventually.
Oh, just to pass your driving
Just
test?
eventually. I've only taken it twice. But the other ambition I have is to be a face for a well-known cosmetic company.
And you, Caron? Your burning ambition?
To be a TV presenter.
Oh. Oh, I see. Well, I think on that note, I'll draw this to a close, or I'll be out of a job. Thank you very much, both of you.
Before I tell you who fills the next two places in the final, movie buffs might recognize this handsome palm court here at the Waldorf. I don't want to worry you, but it doubled as the ballroom in a fairly recent film about the sinking of the Titanic. In fact, I think there's still a spot of damp up there in the ceiling. Fortunately for the contestants, this will be a night to remember for happier reasons. But enough of what we call filling in the business. Our second two finalists are number 16, Vikki Ellis, and the Ulster contender, Rose McGrory, number 17.
You know, if I weren't sitting here with notes in my hand, I'd be holding their hands. If you were sitting where I am, they're shaking like leaves, you poor things. Relax and enjoy it. Vikki, you're very lucky because you get time off for modelling for one simple reason. You work for...
I work for my parents. They've got a shop, and it's very easy because I can just say, Mum, is it all right if I go now? And she can just fill in for me. So we work it well between us.
In fact, you did very well last year. You won so many holidays, I don't think you know where to start, do you?
No, I never thought winning holidays would be a problem, but it's so difficult to find out who to take with you. If you say, well, I'm going to take so-and-so, somebody's sulking. Whoever you decide to take, there's always somebody who thinks you should take them. It's very difficult. I'm frightened to death to take them.
How many holidays have you got to take? About 4, isn't it?
Yes, I've got 4 this year.
Some people would like 1. Rose, you were in the competition last year, and you told me that you've lost an awful lot of weight since last year.
Yes, I was about a stone overweight last year, and as well as that, the cameras put on about 10 pounds, so you can imagine I looked completely gross.
Well, you didn't. You didn't.
Thank you very much.
But in fact, losing the weight has turned into a hobby, because now you're very into physical fitness, aren't you?
It is, yes. Nearly every day I go to a health studio, and in fact, one of my ambitions is to open a health studio maybe someday.
Let me turn back to Vikki, because your ambition, Vikki, is to be the first British cover girl for
Vogue magazine.
Has there never been a British one before?
Yes, there are British cover girls, but it's very rare. It's more popular for foreign girls. I think it's the dark look, the dark hair. And apparently English models are supposed to be the worst models because they're never on time and they always forget things. And they've always got something better to think about. Whereas American, French models usually put modelling first. We're supposed to always have something at home that stops us, a mum that doesn't want us to go away, or...
I tell you what,
whatever.
you'll never be on time if you talk too much. No, I must be fair to Rose. Rose, I think you're very lucky because you work for some people who give you infinite time off to enter competitions. Now, why is that?
Yes, I don't think I can mention who they are, but
No.
they're a bank and they're very, very good to me. And
There's an ulterior motive there because you do some commercials for them, don't you?
yes, I do a little bit of work for them, and they're always pleased to see my photograph in the paper. It helps them too, I think. And my boss especially is very good.
Rose, you've entered competitions for a long time. Do you actually feel you've learnt things each competition you've entered?
Yes, for instance, last year I learned that I had to lose weight. There was no other way I could ever enter another competition.
And I think we'll end with Rose, because I think Vicky's had quite enough to say. You're hoping to enter what in May?
The Belfast Marathon, if I'm accepted.
I can't imagine anyone as glamorous as you running in a marathon, but good luck, both of you.
Thank you.
Speaking as a man who's rarely picked the winner of anything since the 1959 Derby, I've been careful not to make any predictions tonight. It's true I did once win a bottle of Empire Port in a village raffle, but it turned out to be the one I'd given as a prize in the first place. The question is now, who will complete the final lineup for Miss Great Britain 1983? And at last, I'm in a position to answer. The last two places in the final go to number 18, Karen Cresswell from London, and number 20, Janette Smith.
Both shaking like leaves on the autumn trees. I'm going to start with you, Janette, and ask you, you wanted to be a PE teacher, but you're not. What happened?
Well, the job came up at the time, you see. At school, I was always very interested in going to do sports, you know, and I really enjoyed them. And I got on well with my PE teacher there at the school. And
Really?
Yeah, super. It was a she. And I was really interested. I just wanted to do it, but eventually the job came up as a health instructor, and I went on to that. And it's more interesting. I'm glad I made that decision.
Karen, turning to you, modelling is actually your job.
That's right.
And on your notes you said it's not glamorous and it's very, what?
Hard work. Yes, it isn't. People seem to imagine that models just wander around with a little bag and they just go in and they do a little bit of modelling and then they go out again and they get a big fat paycheck at the end of it and that's it. But it's not true. You usually turn up at about 9:30 in the morning. I think the only way to explain to a normal person is to think they're going to work on a morning, they put their clothes on, but we put them and take them off until 5 o'clock.
I think you better rephrase that. Janette, looking at you, I wouldn't think you'd ever have to do any car maintenance at all, because all you'd have to do is smile sweetly and somebody would do it for you. But in fact, you do car maintenance.
Well, I've not done a lot, but I only passed my test about 4 months ago. And my mum was kind enough to buy me a car, which is a super little Mini. I mean, it runs well, but it's a bit clapped out. And it started getting faults, you see. Well, I thought, well, if ever I do a long trip and I'm not able to fix it, I'm going to feel really stupid, especially on the motorway or something, and the car just breaks down. So there's a little mini centre in Chorley, which my boyfriend and everybody goes down to, and they just don't mind me going in there and having a few lessons. So now I do know a little bit about it, you see. Not that much, but a little bit.
The last word with you, because she's had most of the time. Karen, when modelling comes to an end, very briefly, tell me, what do you want to do?
I honestly can't tell you. I really don't know. I just let my life glide along and I just hope I can be successful and happy. That's the main thing.
Well, you're engaged, so you're halfway there.
Yes, that's right.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations to all the finalists, whoever wins, and of course our thanks to Jan Leeming. Before we get to the really... Yes, please. Applause, applause, applause. Before we get to the really tense bit, let me tell you about the prizes. The girl chosen as Miss Great Britain 1983 will get a cheque for £4,000, and she'll have the use of a British car for 1 year. That's donated by the Miss Great Britain 1983 sponsors, Dutton Forshaw Motor Group. Well, 6 girls are left in line for the title, and with the Waldorf clock showing, what is it showing? It's showing about 10 minutes past 10. The judges have about 3 minutes in which to make up their minds. While they do that, let's listen to a group who survived a knockabout series with cannon and ball, only to risk death by tickling again by signing up for an imminent Palladium season with the two Ronnies. Ladies and gentlemen, with Chicago, Stutz Bearcats.
This is a tale about a town you may know. Chicago, Chicago, a toddling town. Chicago, Chicago,
I'll show you around.
you'll love it. Bet your bottom dollar you lose the blues in Chicago, Chicago. The town that Billy Sunday couldn't shut down. On State Street, that great street, I just wanna say, they do things they don't do on Broadway. Say, they have the time of their life. I saw a man who danced with his wife in Chicago, my hometown. Chicago, Chicago, a toddling town, jumping in Chicago.
Jackson, lace up your boots and let me show you around.
You like it? Love it. Bet your bottom dollar you lose the blues in Chicago. Jack the Jive's really jumping.
Why, Mr. Billy Sunday couldn't shut the old place down.
Folks kept going to town on State Street, that great street. I just want to say,
hey now.
yes, they really, really do things they don't do on Broadway. Say, you'll have the time of your life. I know a man who danced with his very own wife in Chicago,
Chicago,
my hometown. Things are jumping in Chicago, 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 my hometown. Big and brassy, folks, they're sassy. You'll see the side street bootleg gin. Watch out for old Scarface with his violin. Chicago, 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 my hometown.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stutz Bearcats. Now, welcome back to the Palm Court Lounge here at the Waldorf Hotel. All 21 contestants from Miss Great Britain 1983. Now, a special welcome to the 6 girls who go forward into this year's final. And here now with the top secret news of the evening, Chris Kelly.
Eat your heart out, Gene Kelly. Well, I know who's won, but I'm not going to tell you for a moment. But before we meet Miss Great Britain 1983, I'd like you to meet and welcome her predecessor, Miss Great Britain 1982, Vivian Farnham. Right, the big three. In third place in the Miss Great Britain 1983 contest is contestant number 12, Caron Moore. The runner-up to Miss Great Britain 1983 is contestant number 16, Vikki Ellis. And the title, Miss Great Britain 1983, goes to Ulster, to contestant number 17, Rose McGrory.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rose McGrory is Miss Great Britain 1983.